Sharkie Gamer here. So today we're looking at the HandyGear. This was made by JoyPlus for the Game Gear console. So firstly, this is an enclosure to protect your Game Gear when you are on the go away from home. Secondly, this is a controller that not only allowed you to play with your Game Gear while the Game Gear was actually installed inside the case, but it also enhanced gaming with the magnified screen. So let's take a closer look. So firstly, it's pretty strong. It's made of thick plastic, so it does have that protection factor. So if you had your Game Gear installed in this, you would know at least if you dropped it or you bumped it or something, it should protect it, because it is quite thick. But because it's quite thick, it adds quite a bit of size. So this thing is actually fairly large, so it takes away a little bit of that portability factor. But I guess if the worst would happen and you were to drop your Game Gear, you would rather have it in a thick case, lose some portability, but know at least your Game Gear is protected. This has a strap, and this is so you can actually hang this around your neck. So you'd hang it around your neck like that, and then when you're ready to play, you would just tilt this upwards, and that would allow you to play with your Game Gear. So you wouldn't even need to take the strap off your neck to actually use it. So it's a pretty cool little thing, and that way you're not going to likely drop it, because if it's around your neck, odds are you're not going to easily drop it. Although it would be pretty heavy with the Game Gear installed. Now going into the actual controls. So firstly on this side you have a D-pad. And then on the other side here you've got a start button and the 1 and 2 buttons. Flip the screen open here, and it reveals that magnified screen area. So that actually would magnify your Game Gear screen. And it's got this nice flap, so when you're done playing, you can close it and protect it from getting too scratched or bumped against something or other. On the back, it's got these nice little grips here, so you can actually hold it very comfortably and reach all the buttons while you're playing. So it just gives you a bit of grip to hold it a bit more naturally. On the top here, it's got some access points. So you've got these little flaps that open up. And these just allow you to access all the features of your actual Game Gear console without actually pulling it out of the case. So it's pretty cool. So opening it up, it's got this clip at the top here. You just unclip that and open it up like this. That's the inside of it. Now at the top here, this is where your actual Game Gear console would sit. So you would sit it in there, and then of course to close it, you just line it and close it up. And all these buttons here, your start, 1, 2, and D-pad would line up with your actual Game Gear console buttons, which means on the back here, you can actually see there's a bit of rubber. If I press that button, it actually pops out. That rubber is what actually presses the buttons on your actual console. So it's pretty cool. So that allows you to basically play the Game Gear while it's actually in the case. And it's got the same type of control scheme. Now it also has a little bit of a sort of a sound window type thing here that allows sound to escape, but really when you've actually got your Game Gear system in here, it will slightly muffle the sound. You'll still hear sound no problem, but it does muffle it quite a bit, so you have to turn the volume a bit higher to hear it if you didn't have the case on. Now with this magnifying screen, you can see here, if I just hold it up to one of the boxes I have in the background there, you can actually see that magnifying effect. So that just helps you actually see your Game Gear screen and see your game a bit better. So it's pretty cool. Now installing your Game Gear. So like I mentioned before, the Game Gear goes in the side. So I've got my Game Gear here, and I've got a game and batteries already installed. So this thing is pretty heavy on its own, but once I add it to this case, it adds quite a bit of weight to it. So to install it, on this side of it, you basically just aligning it here and installing it. Now it won't go in until you press it, but all you got to do is actually push it in and it'll slip inside there. Like that. So it sits quite snug. It's not going to easily fall out or anything like that. And just a quick note, when you're actually pulling the system back out, to get this out of this compartment area, I find the best way is to open up these little flaps here and push from back there. You can actually push it out like that and then pull it out. But otherwise it sits quite snugly in there. And when you're closing this up, you're basically just aligning it. There's actually two little, let's see if I can get this. You've got these little things here, and there's holes just there. So all you've got to do is line those up to close it properly. Otherwise it won't close. Especially when the strap is in the way. So you close it up like that. It closes quite snugly, and it's got that kind of rubber going around there, which kind of gives it a really nice seal to it. And again, this clip just goes like that and locks it shut. So now the Game Gear is installed nicely, and you can see the screen through there, and you can access all the points from the top here. So I open this up, you can see your volume control as well as your headphone input. You got external there, and on the side you've got your DC power as well as your power switch. So you can still access all the features, and when you're pressing these buttons, you're actually pressing the buttons on the actual Game Gear system. I find though, first up, the biggest thing that bugs me with it is for some reason on this HandyGear, when you're actually moving right, it doesn't work as well as going left. And I'll show some gameplay in a second, and you'll see it as well. I don't know if it's just my system or if it's the way it's working. It just seems to move left better than it moves right. But it still works alright. Alright, so let's have a look at some gameplay. Now, with gameplay, you just pretty much lift up that. You open it up to get that switch, you turn that on, and that'll power up your Game Gear system. And you notice it shines that little red light through there as well. And I've got Sonic the Hedgehog 2 in here. Okay, I'm just going to turn the volume down for a second. So the controls are pretty much the same. To move that way, you move that way. To right, left, that's up and down as well. Start, we'll pause it. So it works exactly like it would do if you were actually playing the Game Gear without this actual controller extension. So I'll try and play this a bit, but the right does have a bit sticking effect, so sometimes I have problems with the right. But we're going to try to play it and see how long I can actually go for before dying. There we go, ready, dead. I'll try it again. And I died. So yeah, you can see it, it works pretty well. You can control your character pretty well. Like I said, with mine, I find with the right-hand side here, to go right, you have to push a lot harder to try get it. So a lot of times, that's why you can see me edging along, because I don't actually want to push it too hard to fall off the ledge. Because I find that you have to push it either hard and then you go too far. So that's just a little thing I've noticed with this. I'm not sure if it's all of them or if it's just mine, because it could just be my HandyGear that I got. But I have noticed that. But other than that, it works pretty well. All the buttons are pretty responsive. You can move your character quite well. And you can see it does magnify that screen quite well. It does have quite a bit of magnification. It does look quite cool when it magnifies like that. But overall, I mean, it works pretty well. You can move forward, you can move back. You know, jump. And that goes the same for any type of Game Gear game that you've got. That was a Sonic the Hedgehog 2 that I was just playing there. But any game works fine with this thing. And you can imagine how cool this would be to actually take it with you, so you have something to protect your Game Gear in it. It would be pretty cool, because this would protect your Game Gear quite nicely. So it's very cool, it works very well. So it's a cool controller, because it also acts as that enhancement with that magnifying screen. It protects your Game Gear. It's just pretty cool. And I mean, you just know, back then, especially with this neck strap here, you just know you would have looked cool with this around your neck, don't you? This heavy, practically heavy brick around your neck. You know you would have looked cool. Although you'd be totally oblivious to all the strange looks people would be giving you, because you'd just be playing a game just ignoring everyone. But this thing is really heavy once the Game Gear is installed. It would be quite a weight around your neck to put this around your neck. But overall, it's pretty cool. It's a very useful Game Gear accessory. It works really well, and I mean, you can take this with you wherever. And that magnifying screen, it looks pretty cool. It really does. It does magnify just that little bit. I think the D-pad could have been improved a little bit, but overall, for what it is, it does work pretty well. And I just had that issue when I press right, it just doesn't go full right. So if it was better in that regard, then it would have been a lot better. And these are getting pretty rare now as well, so definitely recommend for collectors. Take another look around at it. So yeah, it's pretty cool. So guys, that was the HandyGear, a Game Gear accessory that adds controls as well as a magnified screen, and adds the fact that it also protects your Game Gear. Pretty cool. Anyway guys, thanks for watching. I am Sharkie Gamer. Don't forget to subscribe. I'll keep some more gaming control and accessory videos up very shortly. Feel free to leave a comment down below if you want to, and if you like this video, hit that like button. Really helps out a lot, guys. Thanks for watching.